Good morning, Miss. We are from Bsed English 4B and we're honored to have you here as our interviewee. Before anything else, Miss, before we formally start our interview, we would like to um, know your name first, Miss.
Okay, hello everyone. I am also honored to be your interviewee today. I am Miss Lizelle T. Okaba, a college instructor from the College of Business Administration.
Thank you, Miss.
We have here a set of questions to be answered by you, Miss. And so let's start. So our first question is, how long have you been teaching and what inspired you to become a teacher?
Okay, so I have been teaching for 3 years and 4 months to be exact. And actually, that question is quite hard for me because I never really dreamed to become a teacher. So I used to hate that profession before because my mindset is I don't want to be a teacher because I don't want to be in school for the rest of my life. No, okay, because since elementary, high school, senior high school, college, you have been in school, and then when you become a teacher, you will be there for the rest of your life, basically, if you want to pursue that career. However, when I graduated college, I was able to discover that I can communicate, I love being with people, I am very talkative, and I think that is something that also inspired me to become a teacher and to love teaching. And another thing that inspired me to stick to teaching for this long, for almost 4 years already, is the time that I am able to spend with my students, and teaching enables me to share the knowledge that I have, the experiences that I have, and it also allows me to be me. Because in the class, I can be creative, I can be resourceful, and there is spontaneity when you are a teacher. Okay, when there are things that we would love to integrate in the classroom, you can do it. No, it's very different when you are teaching and when you are working in the industry as a business and student. And I think that is what inspired me to stick to teaching for this long.
So the next question is what challenges have you encountered in your teaching journey?
Okay, challenges. Actually, before, when I started teaching, I was just 22 years old when I started teaching. And then, I used to not think that it will be challenging because I used to think that when I teach, the only thing that I will do in the classroom is to deliver the lesson, to talk and then teach the student on what the topic is all about. But when I kanang bitang nagdugay na ko sa akong pagka-teacher, no? As time passed by, I encountered a lot of different type of students. I realized that it is really very challenging to become a teacher because it will be very hard for you to teach when you do not try to, balance teaching and being a friend to students as well, because that is also the reason why when I started teaching, students used to tag me as very strict because I am a sort of a disciplinarian. And when you are a teacher, there are many versions of students that you can encounter. So the biggest challenge that I have faced is the different characters, the different learning capacity of the students, which I have to deal with because there are students who are good with communication but not good with writing. There are students who are also good in writing but are not good with communications. There are students who are visual learners, and there are also students who would love to just read on their own. So that's very challenging. And you also have to consider the different backgrounds of the students, the financial capacity of the students. So I think that is one of the most challenging part of being a teacher, trying to deal with the individualities of 30 to 40 students. No? So it will be 40 students versus me. So I think that's the biggest challenge that I've encountered as a teacher so far.
Can you describe an innovation strategy or project you introduced in your class?
Innovation strategy or project, I couldn't say this is a really life-changing innovation because I know that there are many teachers also who have been doing this, but The recent one that I have implemented, a strategy or an innovative project that I have implemented in my class is under the course Environmental Management System. So I am teaching human resource subjects in the College of Business, and I am having now an environmental management system as part of the requirement for HR students. So an innovative strategy that I have applied as part of their final requirement is that they're going to make a diorama which would depict an organizational setting that values environmental preservation, because you know them as HR students and future HR personnel, we have to make them realize that when you become a worker, when you become a business owner or a part of a certain organization, you don't just value what they call profit. You also have to learn to value your impact to the environment. That is why in our environmental management system subject, I don't want to just give students theories about the lesson, but I want them to show me their learnings through the presentation of a diorama in which they're going to show if they are the business owner of a certain organization, how are they going to craft or establish their business in a way that they are earning profit while also helping preserving the environment and minimizing the negative impact that their business operation could give to the environment. Abang ilang na niyo sa akong vlog ang ilang diorama.
What inspired that innovation?
What inspired that innovation is first, me as a teacher, I love outdoors. I love going to the mountains. I love taking care of the environment. And I was very happy when our dean gave that subject to me because I am able to influence my students to love the environment as well, especially that, again, our goal in the College of Business is not only to teach students to become business acumen, to become successful in the field of business, but to also, again, take care of the environment, to identify their aspects and the impact that they would have to the environment, and also, in the classroom setting, I want my students to leave the classroom not only with the theories and the lessons, but with lifelong contributions and impact that they could give to the environment, which very soon they will be dealing with, especially that they will become future business leaders after college.
So, for the next question, Miss, what risks or challenges did you face when implementing it?
Okay. I think that first, let's talk about risk. The risk that I have considered while giving that certain innovative project or strategy to them is the materials that they will be using, because I have instructed them to use, materials that are sustainable. And we know that when we try to look for materials that are sustainable, there will be a risk. So some of them, they went to Jollibee, to fast food chains to collect, single-use plastics nga hilabay na nila, and then they will collect it, and they are prone to bacteria, and then some of them, they went to garbage areas to collect those things to be able to create that certain diorama out of those garbages. So I think that the health risk is present. Now with the challenge, I think one of the biggest challenge for me is the recent calamities that we are experiencing right now, because I gave that innovative project around pre-final period, and we know that we have experienced earthquake, we have experienced typhoons, which slowed down their process of making the project. And I also understood because some of them were also affected by the typhoon. So I think that is one of the biggest challenge for them and for me as well as a teacher, because I need to, maneuver our schedule, the presentation time for that project, and the submission dates as well, because our academic year or our time in the academe right now is being squeezed in so that we can finish still on time sa semester. So I think that's the challenge that we have encountered. I wouldn't say that sila lang ang naka-encounter sa challenge, but all of us were able to encounter those challenges.
So, how did your students or school benefit from it?
I think based on my own perspective, upon making the idea of that project, the rationale of that project, I aimed that my students can benefit from it in a way that the project would help them realize the importance of valuing the environment as a worker of a certain organization. I think that they can benefit from it by leaving the school or the institution with a heart that values not only profit as future business leaders but preservation for nature. And for the school, I think that they would be proud or they will be proud with the students that we have in the College of Business because at a young age, before they graduate, they are able to present a project that is beneficial. And also the school, based on the diorama that my students will be submitting, they can also they can also take it as an inspiration to also apply green practices in the school because as you can see, no, in our environment, there are a lot of natural calamities, disasters that we are experiencing, flooding, no, which is one of the biggest factor of that is the businesses that is surrounding us, the trashes, the practices that could impact negatively the environment. And that is why I really want to emphasize the value of nature preservation because diba, they always say that whatever you give to nature, nature will give it back to you. So that is why we are experiencing this right now. And practicing green HRM practices in an organization would really help elevate not only the welfare of the employees working in that certain organization, but the people also in the community where that organization is situated.
Next question is, in what ways do you think being a teacher is similar to being an entrepreneur?
I think that the similarity of being a teacher and being entrepreneur is that first, you have to be strategic. You know, if you are a teacher, you're going to deal with different type of students. And that's the same with being an entrepreneur because if you are trying to build your own business, you're going to check the market. Who are your target market? And there are a lot of different types of people with different preferences in the market. The same with being a teacher, there are also different kind of students that you have to deal with, and that is something that you have to check. And I think that is one of the similarities of being an entrepreneur and being a teacher. And aside from that, if you are a teacher and you are an entrepreneur, you have to be resourceful. You have to make use of the available resources because first, as a teacher, not everything will be given to you by the administration or even you. You cannot afford everything to make teaching, learning efficient. There will be things that will not be given, and if there are available resources in front of you, you have to make use of it. And the same with being an entrepreneur, you cannot just buy everything you want so that your business will become successful. You have to find ways, you have to make use of the present resources because it is not only important to purchase everything that you need in a business, but you have to make sure that before purchasing, there is already profit. And even if you have profit already, it's not advisable that that profit will be spent in purchasing additional resources immediately. You have to first assess if you really need that thing and of course the return of investment. So that I think is the similarities of being a teacher and being an entrepreneur. You have to first be strategic and second be resourceful.
Thank you, Miss. Okay, the second one. How do you create value for your students, school, or community through your teaching?
That's a very hard question to answer because I think it would be boastful for me if I will be answering that one. So how do I create value? But I think how do I create value for my student? First, for my student in my teaching is I always remind them to be disciplined. That's one thing that I really give emphasis in my classroom because I would always tell my students, I don't expect you to be the best. I don't expect you to be the smartest, to be the most intelligent. I just want you to be disciplined, especially in the College of Business because we are more on management. And when you are managing not only people, not only resources, but also finances, it's very important to have self-discipline. I always tell them I'd rather let you experience the pain of discipline than to graduate without manners. Because manner, when you become an employee in the industry, when you become a business owner, it is everything. Even with entrepreneurship, discipline is very important. And that is one of the values that I would want my students to take, to have when they leave my classroom.
What advice can you give to future teachers about being innovative and resourceful?
Oh, advice. I think the advice that I could give to future teachers about being innovative and being resourceful is that you should not be afraid to try. If there is something that you want to do and you think that others are not doing it and you will be different if you're going to do it, just do it. Because you will never know if you can unless you will. And the best time to do it is now. So being innovative, being different does not mean you are out of the group. You are an outcast. It just meant that you are unique and you have a capacity that is different from any other person. So do not be afraid to be innovative, to be resourceful, and when you innovate something, it does not have to be very big. Because, diba, big things come from small beginnings. So if there is something that you want to do, if there are resources available, you make use of it. And the best time to do it is now. It's okay to be different.
Last question. How do your moral or faith-based values influence your innovation as a teacher?
So how do my morals influence me as a teacher? So I don't know if my student can see this, but I think they can see this because again, they have been tagging me as one of their strict instructors. But I think it is because of my morals and how it influenced me. My morals and values, it really evolved with integrity, honesty, and discipline. And of course, love for the environment. That is why I really love handling subjects that would talk about the environment. And I think it affects in a way that I would want to channel those morals and those values within me to my students. And sometimes being strict, a disciplinarian is misinterpreted as you just being strict with them. But to be honest, my goal is just to discipline them because nowadays we can observe that there could be students, not all, but there could be students who will become lenient with their responsibilities, who will just be chilling and then become stressed eventually when the deadline comes. And that is because of procrastination. That is why I always would like to channel those morals and those values. And that were also the factors that influenced me in my teaching. Because again, I always want integrity, honesty, discipline, and of course, love for the environment as I move forward with my teaching. I would just like to share I told you earlier that one of the values that I have is loving for the environment. That is why my students can attest to that in most of my classes, I keep on using used papers, recycled materials. You know, when I print out their quizzes or activities, I always tell them to not look at the back portion because the back portion is already used and I just put it an X so that they will not be reading it because I want to maximize the use of those things because eventually if we don't use it, it will be put to waste and additional to the garbages that we are contributing to the environment. So those are the 4 things that I have or that influence me as a teacher. Integrity, honesty, discipline, and of course, love for the environment.
Based on our interview, this is our reflections.
Innovative teachers aren't just making class more fun, they're planting seeds for the future. It's like they're not just teaching what to learn, but how to learn, which is like way more important in the long run.
I've seen teachers who encourage students to take ownership of their learning by allowing them to choose their own projects and assignments. This not only makes learning more engaging, but also helps students develop important skills like time management, problem solving, and self-direction. These are the skills that will help them succeed in college, in their careers, and in their life.
One of the most impactful things I've seen is when teachers connect classroom learning to real-world issues. They encourage students to think critically about the challenges facing our society and to come up with innovative solutions. This not only make learners more relevant but also empowers students to become active and engaged students.
Innovative teachers understand that the world is constantly changing, and they prepare their students to be adaptable and resilient. They teach them how to think creatively, collaborate effectively, and communicate clearly. These are the skills that will help them thrive in a rapidly evolving job market.
Ultimately, innovative teachers are shaping the future by empowering their students to become lifelong learners, critical thinkers, and creative problem solvers. They are the heroes who are making a real difference in the world, one student at a time.